Good morning and welcome. My name is Steve Allison. I'm a professor of ecology and earth system science at UC Irvine, and I'm really thrilled to be here today to welcome you to our Be the Change Climate Action Conference. It's really great to see such a large crowd of people here who are excited about addressing the challenges of climate change in the 21st century. Long ago, before today, there were very different civilizations and a very different appearance to what we now know as Orange County. And I wanted to recognize that the land on which this conference is happening is the traditional ancestral territory of the Tongva and Hashiman indigenous peoples. I think it's important to remember that they resided on this land and were stewards of this land for many millennia before colonization by the Spanish. And this is important in the context of our climate conference because we can look to them, I think, for inspiration for how a society can live sustainably with the environment, with the land. And we can think about also the issue of climate change affecting many people globally, and that often the people who are most accountable for climate change are not the same ones who are being affected most by it. So I think that's a real important reason for us to be here today and to be pursuing these kinds of solutions. And the reason I'm here to welcome you is because this is not the first time we've tried to organize a conference like this. So back in May 2018, we organized the first Climate Solutions Summit. And we had a big group as well like this. And the goal of that summit was really for the community at UC Irvine and elsewhere to start listening to the needs of our community members and stakeholders. So we wanted to get a sense for what kinds of changes were needed at the local, the city, and the regional level. And from that initial summit, we learned two key lessons. And the first lesson was that as academics at UCI and elsewhere, we need to do a lot better job of partnering with our communities, with our local human capital to address problems like climate change. So getting ourselves out of the ivory tower and really working to address these problems. And secondly, we also learned that there are lots of needs within these communities, needs from all of you. And that we have in academia, our strength is the expertise and the ability to deliver on solving those problems if we find the right partnerships. So I think what we're seeing today, this conference, is growing out of that recognition that if we work together, that we can really address some of those needs, and that's what the goal of today's conference is, to get on the ground and actually be that change, right? So we're going to be discussing specific solutions later on today. We're going to hear from a great lineup of speakers, and I really wanted to emphasize that this conference was organized by a new program, a new approach to graduate education and training, which I'm fortunate to be the director of. That's the Ridge to Reef graduate training program at UC Irvine. And the idea with that program is really to train the next generation of environmental problem solvers. And these students have taken the lead in organizing this conference with our community partners. And throughout their education at UCI, they've been trained in really important skills for addressing problems like climate change. For example, they're becoming great communicators. They're learning how to collaborate. They're learning the policy implications of research. They're excellent scientists and engineers and chemists, so they can develop the science and technology required to implement solutions. But they also understand the human dimensions and the interactions with culture and society that are going to be needed to address these problems. So their leadership in this conference and at the university and beyond has been really inspiring, and I'm so proud of them and so thrilled to see what they've accomplished so far and what we're going to do here today. I also want to specifically thank Joanna Tavares, who has been the lead student organizer, spending many, many hours over the past months organizing this conference, while also pursuing her PhD work in Earth System Science. So thank you so much for all of that contribution. I know you're going to talk later about all the other people who are involved and all their contributions as well. So with that, thank you all for being here.